Boston, 1962, a city known for its rich history and vibrant culture. A bustling metropolis on America's East Coast where life moved at a brisk pace and the streets were always alive with activity. Unbeknownst to its inhabitants, a dark cloud was gathering. A sense of unease began to creep into the daily lives of Bostonians. A shadow would soon fall over their city, bringing fear and uncertainty into their lives. The nights grew longer, and the streets felt more menacing. This was the start of the Boston Stranglers' reign of terror. Headlines screamed of the gruesome acts, and the city was plunged into a state of panic. A predator was stalking the streets, targeting women in their homes. The sense of safety that once enveloped the city was shattered. The city held its breath. Nowhere felt safe. People huddled together, whispering in hushed tones about the latest attack. The news spread like wildfire, each gruesome attack fueling the flames of fear. Every new headline brought fresh waves of terror. Women were afraid to be alone to answer their doors. They double-checked their locks and peered through peepholes with trepidation. The once vibrant city felt like a ghost town. Shops closed early, and the streets were eerily quiet even during the day. The authorities were under immense pressure. Meetings were held, strategies devised, but the Strangler remained elusive. They had to find this monster before he struck again. Patrols increased and officers went door to door, seeking any clue that might lead to his capture. The first victim, Anna Sleezers, a 55-year-old grandmother found in her apartment lifeless. The cause of death, strangulation. Her case, though tragic, was initially considered isolated. However, it wasn't long before another tragedy struck. Mary Mullen, 85, discovered in her home murdered in the same manner. The pattern was becoming clear. The victims, all women, all strangled. The city was in the grip of a serial killer. The term Boston Strangler began to circulate, a chilling moniker for a phantom terrorizing the city. The Strangler's modus operandi was chillingly consistent. He would often pose as a workman or delivery man to gain entry into his victims' apartments. Once inside, he would overpower them, often using their own stockings or articles of clothing to strangle them. The brutality of the crimes shocked even seasoned detectives. The victims came from all walks of life. There was Sophie Clark, a 20-year-old student, found murdered in her apartment near Boston University. Patricia Bissett, a 23-year-old hospital technician. Mary Brown, a 69-year-old retired nurse. Each life cut short, each leaving behind a trail of grief and unanswered questions. The investigation was intense. The police followed every lead, every whisper. The city was on edge, desperate for answers, but the Strangler was a ghost, vanishing without a trace, leaving behind only fear and despair. For 2 long years, the killings continued. The body count rose, as did the fear. The pressure on the police was immense. The public demanded answers. Who was this monster? When would he be caught? The investigation seemed to be at a standstill, with no promising leads. The Strangler was a master of disguise, blending into the city's fabric. Section 5. A crack in the facade. The capture. In 1964, there was a breakthrough. A young woman attacked in her home managed to fight off her assailant. She provided a description, a crucial piece of the puzzle. The police finally had something to work with. The net was closing in. The description led the police to Albert DeSalvo, a man with a history of petty crime. His photo was circulated, and several other women identified him as the man who had assaulted them. DeSalvo was apprehended. Had they finally caught the Boston Strangler? Section 6. Confessions of a killer. Truth or manipulation. While in custody for the assaults, DeSalvo made a shocking claim. He confessed to being the Boston Strangler. He provided chilling details of the murders, details only the killer could know. The city breathed a sigh of relief. The nightmare was over. But something didn't add up. DeSalvo's confessions were detailed but inconsistent. He couldn't provide accurate information about some of the crime scenes. Moreover, he never confessed to the murders in court, and he wasn't tried for them. Doubts lingered. Was he a cunning manipulator seeking notoriety, or was he truly the monster who had terrorized Boston? Section 7, Life Behind Bars and an Untimely End. Despite the skepticism, DeSalvo was sentenced to life in prison for the assaults. The Boston Strangler case, it seemed, was closed. However, the story took another unexpected turn. In 1973, DeSalvo was found dead in his cell, stabbed to death. His murder remains unsolved to this day. DeSalvo's death only added to the mystery. Was he silenced to prevent him from revealing the truth about the murders? Or was his death unrelated to the Strangler case? The questions remained unanswered, fueling speculation and conspiracy theories. Section 8. Lingering Doubts, the Question of Soul Guilt. In the years since DeSalvo's death, doubts about his soul guilt have persisted. The case of the Boston Strangler has always been shrouded in mystery and controversy. Despite DeSalvo's confessions, many have questioned whether he acted alone or if he was even the true perpetrator. The lack of concrete evidence and the inconsistencies in his statements have fueled these suspicions. Some believe that the Boston Strangler was actually more than one person, perhaps a group of killers operating independently. This theory is supported by the varying descriptions of the suspect given by witnesses and the different methods used in the murders. The idea of multiple killers working in tandem or separately adds a chilling layer to an already terrifying case. The inconsistencies in DeSalvo's confessions, where he sometimes provided details that didn't match the crime scenes, have led many to believe that he might have been coerced or manipulated into confessing. Some experts argue that his knowledge of the crimes could have come from media reports or police leaks rather than first-hand experience. The lack of a trial for the murders, which would have allowed for a thorough examination of the evidence and cross-examination of witnesses, has left many questions unanswered. Without a trial, the public was denied the opportunity to see the full scope of the evidence against DeSalvo, and his untimely death have all contributed to the ongoing debate. DeSalvo's murder in prison under mysterious circumstances has only added to the intrigue and speculation. Was he silenced to prevent him from revealing the truth, or was his death simply a tragic consequence of prison violence? Modern DNA testing has further complicated the case. Advances in forensic science have allowed for the re-examination of old evidence, providing new insights but also raising new questions. The DNA evidence has linked DeSalvo to one of the Strangler's victims, but it has not conclusively proven that he was responsible for all the murders. While it has linked DeSalvo to one of the Strangler's victims, it has also raised more questions than answers. The partial DNA match suggests that DeSalvo was involved in at least one of the crimes, but it does not explain the discrepancies in his confessions or the possibility of other perpetrators. It has also raised more questions than answers. The debate continues, with new theories and evidence emerging over the years. Some investigators remain convinced of DeSalvo's guilt, while others believe that the true identity of the Boston Strangler may never be known. The debate continues, leaving many wondering, was Albert DeSalvo truly the Boston Strangler, or was he merely a part of a much larger, more sinister puzzle? The mystery endures, captivating the public's imagination and ensuring that the case of the Boston Strangler remains one of the most infamous and enigmatic in criminal history. Or was he merely a part of a much larger, more sinister puzzle? The search for the truth continues, as investigators and true crime enthusiasts alike delve into the details, hoping to uncover the reality behind the legend of the Boston Strangler. Section 9. The Boston Strangler's Legacy, a City Scarred. The Boston Strangler case left an indelible mark on the city. It wasn't just the gruesome nature of the crimes that haunted Boston, but the pervasive fear that seeped into every corner of daily life. People began to look at their neighbors with suspicion, and the once vibrant streets of Boston became shrouded in an air of unease. It instilled fear, shattered the sense of security, and forever changed the way people lived their lives. Families would double-check their locks, and the simple act of walking home at night became a nerve-wracking ordeal. The city, once known for its bustling nightlife and close-knit communities, was now a place where shadows held terrifying possibilities. The case remains one of the most infamous in American criminal history, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of everyday life. Detectives worked tirelessly, sifting through clues and interviewing countless witnesses, but the sense of dread never fully lifted. The media coverage only amplified the fear, with headlines screaming of the latest developments and speculations. The legacy of the Boston Strangler is one of unanswered questions, lingering doubts, and the enduring power of fear. Even decades later, the case continues to be a topic of discussion, a dark chapter in Boston's history that refuses to close. The detectives who worked on the case are often remembered for their relentless pursuit of justice, despite the many obstacles they faced. It serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that even in the bustling heart of a city, evil can lurk in the shadows, waiting for its moment to strike. The story of the Boston Strangler is a stark reminder of the fragility of safety and the ever-present potential for darkness to disrupt the fabric of everyday life. It is a story that continues to resonate, a haunting echo of a time when fear gripped an entire city.